Artificial intelligence is becoming more common in our everyday lives. Caught the attention of Illinois lawmakers. A hearing on the technology and the potential risks and possible regulations happened in Springfield. WGEM Illinois Capitol Bureau Chief Max Cotton explains how lawmakers are trying to get their hands around AI.
With AI technology evolving every day, lawmakers take notice. Whether it's people using ChatGPT or watching deepfake videos, experts testified Thursday AI dramatically changes how we see things. That's why legislators are looking for an answer to the million-dollar question. How do we regulate AI?
It is our responsibility to establish guardrails and other mechanisms to protect individuals and society at large from emerging threats related to AI, while at the same time nurturing the positive impacts of this technology.
Ben Zhao is a computer science professor at the University of Chicago and an expert in AI technology. He says there are two types of AI. Discriminatory, which has been around for a long time. It, he says, can be an asset.
And these AI systems are the things that allow us to do things like have interesting drug discovery programs, or identify cancer cells, or look for signals in deep space.
He says most of us are more familiar with the other type of AI, generative. Think ChatGPT and deepfake videos.
These generative AI models are trained on the work product of human artists in different creative industries, generally without consent, credit, or compensation, the 3 Cs. These models output content that directly competes with and takes jobs away from human creatives.
He adds, we lose control of our voices, our faces, and our very identity. Representative Gong Gershowitz says it's a major reason why she and her colleagues want to act.
The right to control our image is something far more important and essential to what it means to be human as this technology rapidly evolves.
She says lawmakers previously failed to act on regulating social media companies before it was too late, and she does not want to repeat those mistakes. In Springfield, Max Cotton, WGEM News.